Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do need a motion to adopt the agenda with the addendum, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt the agenda with the addendum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 3.0, approval of minutes from our April 8th regular meeting and April 29th special meeting.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving to 4.0, consideration of bills and warrants. Questions about the bills and warrants?
Move to approve the bills and warrants.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Moved and seconded to pay the bills and warrants. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. 5.0, hearing of requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. Is there anyone in the audience that's not already on the agenda elsewhere that would like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to 6.0, the accountability reports, which is Mr. McGuire and Mr. Peak.
Just Mr. McGuire.
Just Mr. McGuire this evening. Okay, thank you.
I don't know, you guys should have gotten a copy, but just in case you didn't, there's another copy, and it's got a little add-on on the back too, of kind of a cost analysis of things, what we spend in the district versus kind of, what we charge whenever they're missing or broken. And so we mainly, the main thing we wanted to focus on was the one-to-one technology kind of policy that we have. The major changes from last year is, there's always verbiage changes that we find. We did have a what is one-to-one, what does one-to-one mean for the district? We're, year 5 or whatever of that, so we just took that section out. It would have been on the 3rd page. Kind of shortens it up a little bit. If anyone wants to ask us, we'll let them know. So I think we have the information on our website as well. The major changes are stuff that we've run into just with repairing the devices and, discussion on fees and things like that. We did add a overview of student consequences, and it's up to the building administration on, what they want to come up with, whether they're, we have grade schools, middle school, high school. All the schools are kind of currently independent on how they kind of treat these things, but there's also a disparity because there's a lot more events that happen at the middle school and high school level because of those devices going home. So we see a lot less breakage at the grade school. So it's really kind of up to the building administration whether even if they want to do something or not whenever these things come into play. So that's the major table we added down there. And then
Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
So maybe I misunderstood school law, but is that legal to punish a student for something that they lost?
They're not being punished if something lost. If they're like.
It says missing, lost, or broken, power
Right.
changer, disciplinary
Right.
action.
Right, because if they have lost or damaged something that's school property, yes, it may be that they just have to pay for it to have it replaced. That may be the
I'm talking
consequence.
specifically about lost or stolen. We're going to discipline someone for
So
that?
if something is stolen, then it's required that they have to fill out a police report, and then there's not been any action if it's determined that it actually was stolen and they have the police report that indicates that. If it's something that's lost, then the student may not get to take another one home. They may have to just use one in class and then turn it back in. That may be their consequence, a
Okay,
natural
so
type
But it
consequence.
sounds like there's a punishment that's entailed with this. That's all I'm saying. The wording is,
Well, a disciplinary action, because there will be some kind of, disciplinary
all right,
action,
so
but
what
not
you're saying
necessarily.
is, no, they're not going to be punished per se.
No.
No. I'm saying there's going to be a consequence, and we expect people to take care of the equipment.
I
So
mean,
if
you
they-
can't lower a grade.
No, that wouldn't even be a disciplinary consequence, is that right? That's unethical. We're not
Okay,
gonna do that.
just clearing some air.
Yeah.
Well, I think the question stems from the fact that we've already got a financial responsibility or consequence in a table that we've always had I think Lou's concern is now we've got a disciplinary consequence on the student.
Exactly.
That he hadn't seen before, and so that's why he's bringing that up. That's all.
Okay. And so is that new? That was new?
Yeah, correct.
That's
That
right.
table is new, and
Right.
again, if the verbiage
Right.
needs to change or something like that, I would be all for it, so.
It was just a matter of, if a kid's lost 3 chargers, they keep track of that, and then they're not going to give that kid a 4th charger. That kid will have to use the charger that's at school. But I'm not aware, are you aware of any disciplinary consequence ever given in regard to I'm not aware
Like a
of
stolen device or?
any of that, any of these
No.
things.
And I mean, the
I'm-
disciplinary action could be nothing if the building administrator determines that, well, we're not gonna.
But it could be something.
But it could be something.
Well, and it
correct.
could be-
But it's usually only, things only happen with excess.
I think if a kid is plucking the keys off and doing it on purpose,
Intentionally.
intentionally damaging it, that's when we would have
All
it.
right.
I don't know of any.
That's a whole
for just
different-
like losing a charger or something, no. Our
We've had-
administrators are going to use good common sense in those cases.
We've
I
had a
just
lot
want
of.
to go on the record, that's all.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of screen protectors now that we put on to protect the monitor, so the screen protector will die before the more expensive monitor does, but, I mean, some students just peel them off and throw them away. So, it's just, it's a reaction to kind of the things we've been seeing these past couple of years, so. So you have that section, and then the rest is pretty much the same. The charges, I've kind of done the math, and what we've come up to was the damage is caused by the student to a device, it's $35. The other missing big thing is now that we've added protective screen, case, and bag to this list, and if you look at your kind of last half page there, there's kind of a price rundown. Anything in green is the excess of the charge that the school is covering. And then, and this is, I've looked up all of the pricing over all the years that we've had one-to-one, and I've given a price range because, sometimes when I need 100 chargers, they may be $17.15. Sometimes when I need 100 of them, they're $27.25. So, just depending on what the market is. So it seems to be like that $20 is lower than pretty much everything. And it's just it's a nice round figure, and it just helps to cover the replacement cost of those certain items. I have them broken down by school, high school, middle school, Guthridge. And again, we see so little incidents at the grade schools, it's not even really worth mentioning on a cost analysis. The extra thing we've also added was a willful and excessive student vandalism. This would be, they take permanent markers and draw over all the keys, or they draw on the screen, or, carve into the device, something to that nature, something that's above just putting stickers on it. Or if it's stickers, if they put 3,000 stickers on it, it takes time to take those off, it takes cleaning supplies, so we've added basically a vandalism clause to that, which also has, again, a possible disciplinary action depending on the administrator for the building that it occurred in.
So when students turn in their Chromebook at the end of the year, does that Chromebook go back to that exact Chromebook go back to this exact same student?
99% of the time, yes.
Okay, good.
But when they transfer schools, middle school to high school, or actually Guthridge to middle school to high school, their devices change. So, but they'll at least follow you. In Guthridge, you'll get the same device as long as it's not destroyed or, or if we've replaced it because it's got lost, something like that. But yeah, 99% of the time, that's how we determine it. Again, all the senior devices going out become freshman devices. We get the new bags, so you're not, having a bag that a senior had, so.
I have another question.
Yes.
I understand you're trying to protect the district's investment. Regarding lost devices, so a student uses a computer for 8 months out of the 9 months of school. According to this, they would have to pay the full replacement value, and there's no depreciation involved in that whatsoever.
Well, that's the full replacement cost determined by the technology department. So I think at one point we had current on there. but you can assume that the current replacement cost. And again, this is kind of stuff we've been running into where we kind of had a round figure. Well, yeah, when the device is 5 years old, A, you can't buy it new anymore, and then B, it's not worth that $300 figure
So I
anymore.
would add that word to the current.
Yeah, so that's a good
All
point.
right. Thank
But
you.
determined by the technology department, that's how we will determine the cost, is what it costs us to
Okay.
find a replacement.
That's fine.
So, which again is verbiage that we added in instead of just full replacement cost period, which is kind of why we've also thrown that in there, so.
So every single student in K-12 has a computer.
Yes, preschool, they use, they're not assigned one-to-one at preschool level. They have carts, the teachers have carts in their classrooms. But after that, yes, everyone's assigned a device by the district.
And any student can take that particular computer home at any time.
No.
No, only 8th through 12th grade. Take them off campus.
If there were to be a situation with like COVID-19 or something like that where we had to
I got it.
go back and do remote, then everyone would have a
And that's
device that they could go home with.
That's the very last, the contingency plan for remote learning.
Right.
And again, at any time, we could change this policy
That's
to
correct.
where they do take them home, because let's just hope that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely. I'm with you there.
Any other questions for Mr. McGuire? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, moving on to 7.0, report of the superintendent of schools.
All right, I'm going to kind of move things around instead of starting with the legislative report, which really isn't very exciting. I wanted to recognize some folks that are sitting out in the crowd and one around the table. So each year, the University of Kansas sends out certificates for people that have worked 25 years in public education. And so Amanda got 3 of those certificates this year, so we have 3 in the district that have dedicated 25 years. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to have them come up, and Mr. Begues will give them their certificate and get their picture. He just didn't know he gets to do that. Okay. All right, the first one is Wendy Neff. So Wendy began her career in education in 1987, teaching 9th grade math classes in Orlando, Florida. She started with the district in January of 2020 as an 8th grade math teacher. And throughout her 25 years in education, she's taught in Georgia and in Indiana, teaching math at the high school and middle school level. So she's definitely a math teacher. We were so lucky to find her. I happened to be at a Chamber of Commerce meeting when someone said, oh, they'd gotten a new employee at Powerflame. Yeah, and his wife is a math teacher. And I was like, math teacher? Great. And so she's been a great addition to staff, and congratulations, 25 years. Good for you. Thank you. So she's been at the middle school a number of years, takes a special person. All right, Penny Jacquino. And Penny's getting ready to retire this year. So she began her career in education in 1999 at St. Pat's Catholic School, St. Patrick's here in town, teaching the 3rd grade. So she started with the district. We were able to lure her over in August of 2004. And so she's been with us for 20 years as a Viking. And Penny has taught at Garfield Elementary all of those 20 years. So in addition to being a title teacher, which she started at Garfield, she's also taught 1st and 2nd grade. So good work. Thank you.
you.
Very much. Yeah, we are. Yeah, she will definitely be
I
missed.
beg to differ on when she started, because she started as a para in my class.
And did she back then? Yeah.
And I consider that
That
years in
starts.
education, too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, and I'm not sure how you're going to take your own picture, Jeff.
Do a selfie?
You could just take a selfie with your certificate. So, all right, Jeff Begues. He began his
I can
career in
take your
education.
picture.
Isn't that crazy? He just doesn't seem old enough.
I'll
In
take your
August
picture.
of 1999, he taught 5th grade in Gardner, Kansas. He then taught 7th and 8th grade science at Meadowview for 10 years, and he began his administrative role. The first one he had was as the high school assistant principal in Coffeyville in 2012. He did that for a year and then moved to Roosevelt Middle School as the principal in Coffeyville in 2013. So he started with the district in July of 2021 in his current role as assistant superintendent. So 25 years of dedicated service. Thank you. Good work. All right, thank you very much. And you're more than welcome to stay for the board meeting if you'd like.
Legislative updates.
They're like, nope, we're out. So, good work. Thank you very much. That's always a highlight, to get those certificates and to be able to celebrate dedicated service. It goes faster than you think a lot of times, those 25 years do. All right, so highlights, legislative highlights. Okay. Senate Bill 387 fully funded the Gannon Act, that's the school finance bill, and added $75 million in new money, state aid in special education, without going through the whole crazy LOB formula and what they were trying to kind of do, which seemed a little like voodoo math. It's a lot cleaner. Don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We're still waiting for some of those details, waiting for the formula to be determined what that's going to look like. There was also, usually enrollment is based on the first prior year or 2 prior years back, and so what they wanted to do is change that to current year. And so for districts that are growing, that was great because they have a lot more kids and that's going to be more funding. But for those with declining enrollment, that could be have a huge impact. And so what they did was they compromised, and so it will be current year or first preceding year, whichever is. So you have a little bit of, and this year it's 2 preceding years, and then it moves to the 1 preceding year. So you've got a chance to kind of build that in and get ready for that.
Quick question, on the $75 million for special ed, is that from now on per year up until we have another session?
Until next year,
So it's one year
1 year.
only?
Well, and it may be written into the statute that it's every year.
That's what I'm,
But they'll change, they can
So we
change
don't
that
know yet.
anytime they want, yeah.
Okay.
We don't really know. So we were tickled to get it this year. We thought that was, that will be good for kids. They're also doing something called a blueprint for literacy, and that's to make sure that all Kansas kids have high-quality reading instruction and skilled reading teachers. And so our group, you'll know, I'm sure you're aware, for the last 2 years has done letters training, which is brain-based science of reading. And so we're kind of a step ahead there, which is helpful. This also includes a portion of it now, and it's not voted on until tomorrow by the State Board of Education, so we don't know for sure. But a portion of it talks about licensure. And in order to be licensed, you have to have some kind of highly qualified reading instruction. And so our folks would already have that. That includes administrators too. So our administrators went through the regular letters training just because I felt like that's what they should do, so they did. And now Jeff and I are going to do. We get to letters training for administrators, because even at the district level, I won't be able to renew my license for an include my elementary principal license and teaching license unless I too have this instruction. So it'll be some good professional development. I'm sure we're gonna learn a lot. So there's also a new law that talks about stocking emergency medications for life-threatening things. Part of that's having a plan for heart attacks and working with the American Red Cross. Part of that is Narcan, or what is the other thing called? Not Narc. We're having the training for our staff on May the 20th at 8:30 in the morning. The group from CHCSEK has a group that trains, and it's similar to Narcan, except it is the squirt, the nasal shot. So we have that training coming up. So
Will you renew that at the beginning of the school year as well?
yeah, we will renew
Recap
it. So we got on the list at the beginning of the year to have the training, and this was the first time this particular group could come and do it. It isn't a local person. And it just worked out when Amber called and said, well, we can do it on the 20th. I thought, well, That's better than not doing it at all. And so then and then everyone will have had the hour and a half worth of training, and then we'll be able to do refresher courses at the beginning of the year. And our CHC staff will all be trained, so they'll be able to do it in-house. So I do think that'll be helpful. So that's something else that's new. And there was a new law about foster care students being considered at risk and being eligible for at-risk services, which we've been living that, so we already knew that those students come, and the majority of them are at risk and receive those services. So I think that's going to be, there is, the open enrollment. We're supposed to post all of those capacities and things June the 1st and have our out-of-district application ready. Well, we're still waiting because there was some talk about if we could have student in good standing rules or couldn't have. One time we couldn't, then we could, and so we'll be looking to see what exactly it says in statute to make sure that we are following the law. And we will do that. So, and that may not be the easiest or most convenient, and others may not, but we will. That's what we do here. So that's the legislative update. What else have we got? We've done the 25. Coming up this Friday, it is the last day of school for students. That day, they dismiss at noon. And so staff will be working on the grades that afternoon. On the 20th, that's the day, it's the last teacher day. We've got that professional development in the morning for about an hour and a half. And then we're trying something different this year. Instead of having a retirement tea, we're going to have a retirement luncheon. Everyone's already on contract. They can come for lunch. Outsiders Tacos is going to cater for us, so it's going to be tasty. And we've got 3 people that are retiring this year. We have Penny Jacquino that is retiring after 20 years in the district. We have Diana Wintle, who is retiring. She spent 33 years as a Tri-County para in the preschool program. And then we have Mike Adams, who's one of our bus drivers. He is retiring as well. He has spent 5 years as a bus driver for us, but that's because we've only had buses for 5 years. He worked for Durham 7 years prior to that and was one of our bus drivers as well. So we're going to recognize those folks next Monday at 11:30. You are more than welcome to join us if you will let Emily Salyers at the office know. She will add you to the list for that. So the 27th is Memorial Day weekend. That Monday, the district office is closed. And then we're going to start summer school before we know it. And those sessions run Monday through Thursday in each of the buildings. Typically on Thursday, it's a trip of some sort around town or doing something special because we've had attendance Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So there's a little incentive, a little carrot. You come these 3 days, it's very explicit and direct instruction based on the data, based on the individual student data, and then on Thursday you get to have a little trip. Now, the high school and middle school, high school's all credit recovery. We have 2 sessions. It's the only group that goes in the afternoon, but you can sign up for either one of those sessions, and they can recover credit that they didn't earn first or second semester, or if they want to work ahead. We have one student who came from a different country, and based on his language, he was about a year behind, but has just really blossomed and caught up, and he's going to go to summer school all summer because he wants to earn those credits so that he can graduate with his age group of peers. So we try to be real flexible. There's a lot of autonomy there. So there will be no summer school on June the 19th for Juneteenth. Elementary and middle school, it's the month of June. High school, June and July, not the week of the 4th of July. So those are the things that are happening there. Anybody have any questions for me about that? And then I had one other thing, well, a couple other things. State tennis, 3rd place. That was great. That was good. We had some good Special Olympic reports. Special Olympics in Erie was this last week, and it was good. It was quick, and lots of kids participated. And then Brody Wright and Cyrus Claremont, they won the Elks Drug Awareness Kansas Video Contest. David Chavez, when I was out at the car dealership, and he said, I've got this video thing. Do you have kids that would want to do it? I said, well, here, let me give you this teacher's name and number. So got him hooked up, and they made a video. It won at like the local level, and then it won the state award. So now it's headed on to the
That's
national
great.
competition, which is very exciting. So, and your son won the state Lincoln debate, right?
He did.
He did.
Very impressive.
It was very impressive. He told Jeff that morning, "I'm going to go and I'm going to win." And he went and he did. So, good for him.
That's
And
great.
graduation was yesterday, 107 graduates. What a fun afternoon that was. So we had a lot to celebrate yesterday. It's been a really good day.
Wyatt Schultz, runner-up, state runner-up. as well.
Absolutely. State tennis, second place. We've had a lot of really good things happening, for sure. So
Agreed.
it's been a good way to wrap up the year. So,
Okay, moving on to 8.0, report on the April Tri-County Board meeting.
Okay. And I actually have the April and the May, since the
Okay.
calendar worked out that way.
Excellent.
So, at the April meeting, the gifted representatives from Greenbush reported on the recent study and how their gifted program fared. And they had really high ratings, 80% on most things. What they did learn from that and what they want to focus on is they need more communication with the parents and the other educators in the gifted program. So they're using what they learned from that. They also, there's an annual report on special education performance, and in each district, the highest level of determination being meets requirements, each of the districts in Tri-County met those requirements, so that was something to celebrate. We approved contracts for Greenbush and KASB, calendars, things like that coming up. That was part of the meeting. And then they're still trying to recruit teachers. It looks like in Parsons, we don't need anybody else. We're all okay. But several of the other districts need someone still. Still looking for the school psychologist. That's the main one they're looking for. They're filling the OT with two, they call them CODA, but it's two assistants, OT assistants. And I suppose they're being supervised by an OT person, but, and that was the April one. In the May one, they recognized the people retiring, and I know from our district, Diana Wintle is retiring from here. And she's been for 36 years, she has been in Parsons. And I know most of that, I believe, was at Lincoln with the preschool, so. And then they recognized years of dedication throughout the districts and in the certified and classified area. Well, I just said they're still recruiting, and their highest priority is the school psychologist. They thanked all the districts for recognizing their Tri-County teachers in the Teacher Appreciation Week and the paras. They really like it when they're recognized within the district that they work, even though they're not actually our employees. And the special education headcount has been finalized from December 1st, and they currently have 1,493 students within the 7 school districts. And it's an increase of 7 students overall. Talked about that. And then they talked about state funding, and pretty much what you said. 900,000 to $1 million, which she did express concerns that is for 1 year only. It's not for the 5 years. So it'll be a little stopgap, but that's about it for now. That's it.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you for those reports. Moving on to 9.0, action to accept donations to schools.
okay, so the list of donations is on page 33 in your packet. So first, the district office had a donation of $150 for mascot bank cards from Community National Bank. Lincoln, there weren't any this month. Garfield Parsons Grade School PTO made a restricted donation for meals, $175. D&E Pizza LLC made an unrestricted Domino fundraiser donation of $386.49 for a total of $561.49. None at Guthridge in March. Middle school, there was an anonymous donor for teacher meals and recognition, $200. At the high school, the following made donations for the TSA program, which is the Technology Student Association program. B&J Express Lube, $100. Julie McIntosh, $50. Shannon Day, $50. Labette Health, $200. Vicki Pribble, $200. Jeff and Diana Quirin, $50. Kurt and Mary Fries, $150. Bank of Commerce, $100. Parsons Media Group, $200. An anonymous donation for $150. So all of those were for the Technology Student Association program. There was a Ballers Sports Bar and Grill made a donation to the softball schedule sign, $110, and then made a donation, Ballers did, to the softball scoreboard of $1,000. There were 2 more anonymous donations. One was for the FCCLA program, $40, and one was for Writers Club, $65, for a total at the high school of $2,465. So a total for the donations received by the school district in March 2024, $3,376.49. So I recommend that you approve those generous donations.
I make a motion, we approve the donations to schools.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve those donations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.1, discussion and possible action on the technology fees for the 24-25 school year.
Okay, and we were gonna scooch in here and do the 9.0A.
Oh, sorry.
That's all
9
right.
point. Yep, action on updated one-to-one technology policy
Right.
9.
So it was 2 different things, and I just didn't get that clear when I handed all of those things out. So this is what Ben went over with you. He and Matthew Peak have gone through and written this and updated this, and so it's recommended that you approve this updated one-to-one policy for the 24-25 school year.
I think that was probably subject to Lou's friendly amendment on the language, on the cost.
Okay,
So,
Add in
yeah,
current.
yeah,
current
Yeah.
cost.
yeah.
Let me put that on there so we make sure we've got that. So current replacement cost instead of full, we can do that.
Okay, so is there a motion on that plan,
So moved.
policy?
Second.
Moved and second to approve that technology, one-to-one technology policy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now on to 9.1, the discussion and action on fees.
Right. And so we have not had, last year we didn't have technology fees. Okay, in all the years we've had one-to-one, we tried to do technology fees one year. And it worked out, when I looked back through my notes, it appeared that about 1/3 of people paid, and then we spent a whole lot of time chasing and trying to get, fees. So we have not, in the last 3 years, charged technology fees and/or textbook fees.
We're talking about technology
yeah,
or textbooks?
So we're
Both.
talking about
There's
the first.
Technology's first, then textbooks second.
9.1 is technology.
Yep.
And so this is separate from if you break it, you have to pay for
Yep.
it, you've got to fix it. It's separate from that. That you just passed, and that needs to happen. But this is just, you have to, at one time we said, if you're in elementary school, you have to pay $25 for the device. If you're in middle school, you pay $50 for the device, for the use of it for a year. And that was enforced, I think, 1 year, maybe 2. It's difficult.
So now you're saying.
I'm saying last year, the board
For this-
elected,
For this year, what are you saying?
so what I'm saying is that for next year, for the 24-25, I would recommend no fees, no technology fees. That's what the board has
All
done,
right.
but it's up to the group to talk
I'll
about
make
it and
that motion.
decide.
Unless there's more discussion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to waive technology fees for the 24-25 school year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 9.2,
And now this is the
yeah,
textbooks.
discussion and
Yeah.
possible action on the textbook fees.
Yeah, and I went back and looked, and since the tornado, we have not charged textbook fees. But every year, we're supposed to bring it to the board to discuss it if they want to, and to vote, just so, because it's an actionable item each school year.
That's about when I got on the board.
Yeah, so I I would recommend we not have textbook
I'll
fees
make
either,
that
but
motion
that's.
also.
I second that as well.
What was it, just out of curiosity?
$100 or
It
something?
it was about 100, I'm trying to
Oh, it's
think,
a little more
and it
than
was
that.
different depending on how many you had and at what level. So I think maybe
It
at
was
high school, it was $100, and it depended on if you took an art class, and you had to pay a fee for that, or a science class. When John was,
It seems like elementary was like 30 or,
It's shorter, yeah.
it was shorter, but for a number of years, we've not, for a long time after the tornado, and then I think we did maybe for a while, and then we've not done that, so.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to waive those textbook fees again for the 24-25 school year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. 9.3, action on the nurses' aides positions for the 24-25 school year.
All right, so this is what we've got contracted through CHC, and we have always had the nurse and one aide, and then during COVID, we added an additional aide in each of the buildings, so there's 5 staff. And what we have done is, we've secured a grant with KDHE that pays or reimburses part of that nursing staff. So that is covered, because now we're coming out, we've always used ESSER funds, we're coming out of ESSER funds and the usability, but we did get a grant to cover a portion of that fee. It should cost us less than $50,000, I think, is what Tanya and I had roughly figured for
the
those
3?
additional 3.
Okay.
That's
Based-
very helpful, just having someone in the building at all
Yes.
times.
It is.
Yes.
Every year at the end,
No-brainer.
Amber will give us a list of just every time someone goes to the nurse, they count. I mean, they document it. It was over 1,000 times at Lincoln. Kids had made little visits to the nurse, and you just think how many times that interrupted secretaries and principals and other things. And it's helpful to have someone who is trained,
Knowledgeable,
knows what they're doing. So I would recommend that we keep those additional 3 positions, so to provide a healthcare professional in each building for the 24-25 school year.
I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve those nurses' aides positions as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.4, action on the 24-25 student and athletic accident insurance renewal.
Okay, and so this is with First Agency. This is the group that we've had before. The cost did not increase. And let me tell you, that's the only insurance I found that hasn't increased. All the other insurances are going up. So the cost of that is $25,686 a year, and that covers all school accidents of our enrolled kids. So the way it works is the student's primary insurance pays their portion, and then First Agency will pay up to 70% of the deductible costs. Sometimes that's kind of confusing. People think, oh, I don't have to pay because there's 2 insurances. You have to pay 30% of the deductible costs is what they've got there. And then the other is the catastrophic accident policy, and that is based on student enrollment, which would just pay additional funds to parents. That only costs us $621.90. That didn't increase either. It's a very reasonable safeguard and recommended. So I would recommend that you approve those for the 24-25 school year.
Motion to approve the insurance.
second?
Moved and seconded to approve the student and athletic accident insurance renewal for 24-25 school year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.5, action on the cooperative agreement with St. Patrick's Catholic School.
Okay, we've had a cooperative agreement with St. Patrick's for a number of years, and basically, this year, we've added wrestling, and so I think with the exception of volleyball and basketball, it's every other sport. And so the way that works is, so Olivia at the middle school has to fill out paperwork with Keisha. And don't you fill that out before each season, Jeff? The cooperative, and so she'll send that in, but she's talked with the principal, Autumn Carson, who's requested that in writing, and we're agreeable to that, so.
I'll make the motion to accept the cooperative agreement with St. Pat's.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to agree to the cooperative agreement with St. Patrick's Catholic School for middle school football, tennis, golf, cross-country, boys tennis, girls tennis, and wrestling. Yep, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.6, discussion on the storm shelters.
Okay, so we've had some bad weather, and some of the storm shelters are open and some haven't been, and so Mr. Martino had requested that we add this to the agenda to discuss kind of what was happening. So we currently have, I've included in your packet a page that says the safe room contacts, and then on the back side, it gives you the procedures for opening the safe room, just so that you're aware that's how that works. The district has 3 safe rooms, 1 in each of the elementary buildings. Lincoln, Guthridge, Garfield. Now, there is no safe room at the middle school. It doesn't exist. And at the high school, we have used it as overflow at Guthridge. So if Guthridge is full, we've opened it. It's the wrestling room. It's not a FEMA-approved safe room, but it is a spot that we do open if there's overflow at Guthridge. So the way it's always worked, since they were built, Leanne, you probably remember. When they were built, we have found trusted neighbors or retired folks that live in the area that are willing during a storm to get out, come and unlock the door, and then do crowd control. Okay? There's some procedures when you open it as well. You can look through there. We wrote those years ago. There's walkie-talkies. You have to turn on an open sign and get out a book that everybody signs in. You turn on the weather radio. You hand out the reflective vests for anyone who's going to help get people in. And then you have to manage the behavior of the people in the shelter. And so for years, we've had the same people that have opened the shelters. And we still do at Guthridge. Debo Johnson is great. If there is a cloud in the sky and it looks like he's willing to go and open it up and get there, and he's got that open. He is good. And so, and at Garfield, we have that one that's open regularly as well. And so, we have not had anyone at Lincoln for the last year. The neighbor that had done that lived across the street was no longer comfortable doing that. We had a staff member that lived in the vicinity, in the area, and he has moved to a different part of town. And so we don't currently have a trusted neighbor in the Lincoln area to unlock the safe room when there's a storm. I don't feel comfortable requiring a staff member, because I'm not going to ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do, and I live right over there. I don't want to get in my car in a tornado warning and drive across town to Lincoln to open it. I think, if someone were to live in that area and be willing to do it, it has to be a trusted neighbor, someone that we know. And so I think there's been some concern that Lincoln hasn't been open, and
That's why.
that is why. That's why. And whenever there's a crisis, and a weather crisis in particular, people often respond in such a way that might make it difficult to manage a large group of people. Some want to come, like at Garfield, they would want to come and stand in the lobby and watch. No, if you want to watch, stay home and watch it on your porch. We need to get you into the library and shut the doors. So there's always part of that. And then I've gone to Guthridge a time or two, and then it becomes, well, I want to bring my cat, or I have a bird that I want to bring, and, well, this is my dog, and, okay, well, we'll take therapy animals if it's if it's a registered health support dog, but then there's just a lot of that, and people are sometimes cranky in a crisis, and because I think they're fearful, and so they're hot and they want something to drink, and turn down the air conditioning and all of those things. And so I think it's a combination of all of those things that make it difficult to find someone who's willing to, one, tolerate the public's behavior and open the facility, if we're just being honest.
All right, to clear a few things up, questions that I had from different patrons. So the safe rooms that were built at the elementary were built as part of a bond issue. Were there any FEMA funds involved in that?
It's my understanding that there were, that there was some, well, I know at Guthridge there was a match. There was a FEMA match, but I'm not sure about.
Neither am I.
About Garfield and Lincoln. They're both FEMA approved, but I'm not sure that there was the match of funds, because Guthridge was built first.
Because that was the argument some of the citizens said, well, that was FEMA money that you used, and I said, I don't know. I don't know.
It was for sure at Guthridge.
But when they were designed as safe rooms, And then eventually, one of the boards must have approved to have opened it up for storm and tornado shelters. I don't know.
We did. I recall doing that. We
Okay.
approved that.
For the public after hours.
So was it just tornado watch shelters
No.
or
It-
storm and tornado?
No, it's tornado warnings. If there is a tornado warning
Or
in the
warning
area.
or watch?
Warning. It's a tornado warning. We don't always open them for watch. Now, Debo is going to open them every
Wow.
time because,
You need to check with Debo.
That's-
His health is.
I know, we just visited with him last week. I mean,
Did
we
you?
just, yeah, it's
Well,
been
he's
very
being
recent.
taken care of by other people.
Yeah,
And Riley's in Arizona,
but I think his
and
son,
Justin is in Coffeyville.
does he live there?
That's correct. He
Okay.
teaches and lives there.
Well, I knew he taught there, but I know Amanda's
I was
reached
told
out,
Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's Coffeyville.
but and he was still willing to keep the key and open it when you called and checked.
And I talked to Mr. Freeze, yes.
Okay, so the building principals were the ones that called and had checked, so maybe I need to check on
I
that,
think
it
you need
sounds
to
like.
check, yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
So are we saying, I'm not sure what we're trying to tell the public about keeping these open. Are we going
I
to,
don't think they.
we have difficulty getting someone to man or woman the building at Lincoln. So that may not always be open. At this point, the other two elementary schools are open. Is that what we're saying?
That is correct. And we've put that out to the city.
Until we may find someone to open
At Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And as soon as we do, we'll let everyone know. Every time there's been any kind of weather, which has happened twice this year, we've put it out on all of our website and on all of our social media. These are the buildings that are open, this one isn't, we're still looking for a trusted friend. And so I've seen people on social media complain about it. There's nobody there, but those people are not calling and then saying, hey, I'm a trusted friend and I'm willing to do it. And it has to be someone that can pass it back. If it's not an employee or someone that we know, we can't just randomly hand out a key where they could get in at any time. And so we have to do a background check and those kinds of things as well.
So then the liability of anyone that's in a shelter lies upon the school district.
No.
You mean if something were to happen and the building were to be hit? During a storm? I don't know. I would have to check and see. I do not know.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think
I mean, I-
think
that's-
if you voluntarily go there,
right, then I
you're
wouldn't.
assuming some risk, but,
And that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I think if you
That means-
voluntarily go there, you're assuming some risk of doing so, when you're en route and when you're there.
And that's why I don't think we can require a staff member to
Right.
go and to man
Right.
it.
I'm just trying to clarify for
Sure.
the public that's asked me. And then you also said, and I've read up on some of this, some communities have, like you said, have difficulties with their shelters because they swear, they may bring in alcohol, they try to bring in their family pets, which is understandable to some, and may get rowdy, so
It
like you
is-
said, who would want to be in charge of that mess? Not me.
Yeah. And the time or two that we went a few years back to Guthridge, and I wasn't the person in charge, but de facto, when a school person shows up in any of those buildings, they're the person in charge. After that I think we had like 2 nights in a row or something in a week's time there where we'd been at Guthridge. You know, Matthew was still, I don't know, he was still in high school. He said he'd rather, at that time, just take chances with all of us in the bathtub than to go, because it was there were a lot of people, and like I said, it's stress, and people react differently to stress, and that,
So then there's a visible sign that says open, correct?
yes, it's one of those neons.
Neon glow signs.
It's a neon glow sign,
And then that person stays there until all clear?
They'll get a call from the police
It'll
department.
be a long evening.
It could be, and there have been nights that it has been very, very long.
So if a person chooses to leave before the all clear, that's on them.
I would assume that's all at their own risk. But that's why it's so important that when they get there, they don't just stand and look around out the window. That's why we have people that put on the vests that are willing to say, hey, get in here. Get in here so the rest of us can shut the door. We're not going to blow away. If you want to watch it, stay home on your porch. So, But yeah, it's kind of a tough spot.
And the city's website, is that cleared up now?
I think it's been corrected. They were notified twice. So hopefully, I would say the next time we have a storm, we'll look and see if it's been fixed, but they are aware.
Well, please get back to us on the liabilities.
I can check on that liability
Thank you.
and the FEMA monies. And I'll check with Guthridge about their trusted neighbors as well. Okay, so.
Okay, thank you. Moving to 9.7, executive session to discuss personnel matters for non-elected personnel. We need a motion for 10 minutes under this topic. If someone would be nice enough to do that.
I move that we go into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss personnel matters for non-elected personnel at 6:50, let's say, until 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I second.
Moved and second, we go into executive session, discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception in Tacoma at 6:50 for 10 minutes. We'll return back here at 7 o'clock. We will have assistant superintendent and superintendent with us. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, we are in executive session. Okay, it is 7 o'clock, so we're back in open session. We're moving on to 9.8, the executive session to discuss confidential student information. Administration doesn't have anything for that topic. Do any board members have anything for that topic? Okay, we'll move on to 9.9, executive session to discuss employer-employee negotiations. Likewise, administration does not have anything for that topic. So unless someone else has something for that topic. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to 9.10. Action to approve reemployment of classified staff for 24-25.
Okay, and so this is listed on pages 43 through 45 of your packet, and that is who's recommended for the issuance of a contract for the 24-25 year, which is next year, for classified staff. So I would recommend that.
Make a motion to approve the reemployment of classified staff 24-25 of all those listed on pages 43 through 45.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the reemployment of the classified staff for 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.11, action on full-time substitute teachers for 24-25.
All right, so, we have had three full-time this year, and one of those full-time substitute teachers is now going to teach for us at the high school in the 24-25 year, so that leaves two. And so my recommendation is that we would rehire the two current full-time substitute teachers listed on page 45, and so that's Joey Simmons and Carly Johnson. I would recommend that you approve those folks, and that elimination of that third position, a portion of that funding will then be funneled towards paying for the healthcare aides that are still in, that are working. It's kind
So
of-
that'd be a reduction of one then?
That would be a reduction
Okay.
of one. Mhm.
Okay, any motion on that?
What would that one, what school would we be giving up?
Well, it wouldn't be that, we'd only have two, and so there'd be an elementary and a secondary one. And so Carly would be the elementary person and would go wherever, and then Joey would be the secondary one.
How often did we use all three?
On the daily.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. So we're gonna be short again.
Well, what we found is that we have the list, the database, and some of those people are going to sub for us every day, or they just aren't. We could always use Colleen as needed. We've used her part-time some, but she really is more of a writer, not a teacher, a staff writer, and getting those articles and things done, so.
If that's your recommendation, I'll make the motion.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the full-time substitute teachers as discussed for 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. 9.12, action to approve summer supplemental assignments.
Okay, so that's listed on page 46, and summer supplemental, that's weights. That's what that is. That's summer weights and driver's ed. They just call them supplemental. So, looks like there'll be 4 high school boys, 3 high school girls, 2 middle school boys, 2 middle school girls, and then driver's ed.
Motion to approve summer
I
supplemental.
have a quick question. So supplemental contracts, we haven't addressed that yet, have we? Because there was supposed to be a committee that was going to bring us some information regarding salaries.
Okay, so that's part of negotiations, and
Right.
so all of that information was shared about a month ago in one of the views, and that was information that had been gathered from the ADs across SEK.
Yeah, I'll have to
And,
double check that.
yeah, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and then at the negotiations table,
Okay.
when we meet with PNEA, you're right, you're absolutely right, but we've got
For the next.
school year. Uh-huh,
Okay, that's-
but yeah, you're right, it's on the list.
That motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve those summer supplemental assignments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.13, action to approve summer school assignments.
All right, and so that's listed on page 47 of your book. And so some of them are doing them a little different. Some of them may only do 2 weeks, where some may do 3, but it works out that 8 people total in each of the buildings at the elementary level. And then 3 at the high school, And then they're going to do it a little bit different at the middle school. They're going to do some perfect attendance trips on a Friday. They're going to make them work 4 days and then get to go on a Friday. And so they have some people that are not going to work Monday through Thursday, but on Friday are willing to supervise those trips. So that is listed on page 47, so I would recommend that you approve those summer school assignments.
Move to approve the summer school assignments as listed.
Second.
Okay, moved and second to approve those summer school assignments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 9.14, action on personnel.
All right, so we have the following resignations from employment. Tammy Blanzett, preschool aide, effective the end of the 23-24 school year. Kay Clark, kindergarten aide, effective the end of the 23-24 school year. Amber Compton, child nutrition staff, effective May the 3rd, 2024. Tabitha Roth, assistant junior class sponsor, effective the end of the 23-24 school year. Pat Scheibe, high school girls head basketball coach, effective April the 24th, 2024. Jordan Swanson, district tech support technician, effective June the 14th, 2024. Amy Wimp, Guthridge title aide, effective the end of the 23-24 school year. And then on the addendum, Kyle Hostetter, high school assistant wrestling coach, effective May the 13th, 2024. Crystal Johnson, part-time evening custodian, effective May the 17th of 2024. I recommend that you approve those resignations from employment.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve those resignations from employment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
All right. We have one resignation for retirement, and that is Mike Adams, who is a route bus driver, and that would be effective May the 17th of 2024. So I recommend that you approve that resignation for retirement.
Moved and seconded to approve the resignation of Mr. Adams for retirement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
We have one recommendation for employment on the addendum. Laura Allison as business manager, effective June the 17th, 2024. I recommend that you approve that employment.
Moved and seconded to approve Ms. Allison for the business manager position. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. No further business. We are adjourned. Thank you for your attendance and discussion.